2019.
Oh my goodness, the offense for the Seminoles has been electric.
Florida State, the Hatters and the Seminoles for an ASUN ACC clash here at the Seminole Softball Complex on a Wednesday afternoon. We are underway with ball one to the Hatters leadoff batter, Addison Foster.
You see that first pitch by McKenna Reed, just gas, but up in the zone, trying to get somebody to chase, trying to get her to pop this ball up to the infield.
Foster pops that ball foul. It'll go 1-1 to the shortstop, who has been the everyday table setter, save for a few games where she was out with an injury. Keep an eye on Cami Epley, whose batting average, hits, and RBI all lead the Hatters. Chumley, the DP, English, Santana, McLaren, Anthony, Ben, and Napoli round things out for the Hatters. So 1-1 to Addison Foster. And pop the bunt up into the net. That'll go down as another foul ball. 1-2 out of the gates to the shortstop.
Yeah, and Foster's leading this team in stolen bases. You see her right there trying to utilize that speed and drag a bunt to get down to first base.
Batting north of 300 for the second straight year is the sophomore. Batting 340, in fact, this season is Addison.
Right, and she's showing a little power. 3 doubles, 3 triples, couple home runs, but probably the stat that'll jump off the page at you is those stolen bases. Has not been caught yet this year.
Sophomore out of Illinois. I mentioned that 340 batting average, OPS near 1,000, 15 driven in as she lays off that pitch to work the count full. Perhaps to no surprise for Foster, who comes in with 15 walks on the season to only 6 strikeouts. Great ratio for the sophomore.
Right, that's not something the Seminoles want to do, is put the fastest runner on base this early in the game with no outs. So, but Foster really fighting through this at bat, battling to make sure she gets her pitch right here. It's very impressive to watch her be a leadoff hitter right here.
Reed worked ahead in the count early. Foster's battled all the way back. Another payoff coming. And that's a leadoff walk. So as Foster works the walk, we'll go ahead and take a look at Florida State's defense behind its starting pitcher, McKenna Reed. Up the middle of the infield, Issa Torres, joined by Annie Potter. Out on the corners, it's Jason Beecham and Angelique Bueno. In the outfield, Kerr, Harp, and Dak. And working with Reed is the catcher in the backstop, Michaela Edenfield. Ashton Danley will be the DP for Florida State today once we see the Seminoles bats. That bunt was laid down in front of Jason Beecham. The throw to first pulled Potter off the bag, who was covering the bag at first. And quickly, a leadoff walk and a lot of speed behind her in Cami Epley. The Hatters have a couple of base runners aboard.
Yeah, you watch the corner infielders break in right here, and Jasani Beecham, she calls everybody off, takes the throw. I think she just rushed the play a little bit, may have had a little more time than she expected. Probably could have taken one more shuffle step to get that throw down, and just sails the second baseman who was covering the bag.
It will go down as an E5 on the sophomore Beecham on the hot corner. That'll bring up Amber Chumley, the DP from Punta Gorda, Florida. A lot of freshmen and sophomores in this lineup for Shelly Cousins. It's a young team as a whole. Chumley herself, one of those youngsters, the first freshman in the batting order.
Right, leading the team in doubles, or leading the starters in doubles right now with 5. But you see her, she's in that 3-hole. She's already with an opportunity with runner in scoring position.
Chumley spent time as the DP, as the third baseman, and in left field this season for Stetson. Been some moving and shaking and shuffling down into land.
Stetson team has kind of had their ups and downs so far this year, and that's part of it, trying to find the role for each player.
Elevated into right field. There to make the play is Dak. That will allow the lead runner Foster to tag, and Stetson with 1 out has runners at the corners.
It's a good job by Chumley. She gets a pitch she can handle just off the hands a little bit, hits it out to right field, but the base runner is far enough to get the base runner to third, and that's a very productive out for the Stetson Hatters.
Wind is ripping out to right field at the moment. As as we get this game underway. It's a productive out for sure for Chumley, who does move the lead runner, Foster, to third. Great opportunity for the Hatters to perhaps strike first here in Tallahassee as Nadia English, the sophomore out of Melbourne, Florida, steps into the batter's box. English hitting .284 with 16 runs driven in. And this will get into Florida State's VIP section above the bullpen. Quickly 0-2.
It's a great pitch right there by Reed. Changing speeds on the four-hole hitter. Four-hole hitter's up with an opportunity to score a run from third. She's got to take advantage of any strike she gets. And Reed, with a very hard rise ball with the first pitch, gets Nadia English off balance with that changeup.
Down on strikes goes English. We'll take another look.
You see Reed right here with the hard ball, very, very well placed on the outside corner. A very hard hit or pitch to hit in Nadia English. There's not a bigger out right there to get than a strikeout. About all you can do as a hitter is just keep battling on that pitch, but that one just too much for English to handle.
Addison Foster got us started with a leadoff walk on a full count. Cami Epley followed her up by placing a ball down in front of the plate and forcing Jason Beecham to commit an error over on the hot corner, trying to get the ball to first in a hurry. So a leadoff walk, then the E5, followed up by an F9 and a strikeout by Reed. That ball bounces to Beecham, who comes back home, and Stetson beats the throw there. The Hatters are on the board.
And just a rare miscue by Michaela Edenfield right here. Anytime you have a first and third situation as a defense, usually there's a play on. The runner stealing second, and what I think the play was Michaela Edenfield was supposed to fake the throw to second and try to throw down to third, and I think the ball just slipped out of her hands right there. Tough play for the Seminoles.
Great start for Stetson, who, as I mentioned, the kind of start they got off to already in this inning. If you're the underdog on the road, you certainly would love to get that lead runner across after all you've done to get her to third base. And even as funky as that play was, it was effective enough to get the job done as Emily Santana faces this pitch from Reed and pops it out of play.
I'll tell you what, Reed has really seemed to have found her stride. She's throwing a lot of strikes, hitting her spots, changing up speeds. It's very, very impressive how she has gotten better each and every batter.
Reed, who was on the All-ACC freshman team a couple of years ago, freshman All-American last year, battled some injury issues, especially over the last month of the season. She's got Santana 0-2. It'll stay that way as that ball is lifted off toward Florida State's hitting facility.
Another great pitch location from Reed right there. This one just starting out over the plate, kind of working its way back towards the outside corner. Not making it easy on Emily Santana to get the barrel of the ball.
Santana, a freshman out of Miami Beach, fouls this one away. And I'll tell you what, the Hatters, Brandon, have done a good job of, even if the ABs don't end the way they want them to, they are digging in and they are seeing a lot of pitches.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what you have to do: is you have to get up there and battle through at bats. So the Stetson Hatters, they're not coming in as a very big power hitting team. So obviously the small ball is working for them, and they are battling through at bats. So it's just impressive right now.
0-2. Popped into right field, and ranging back to make the play is Annie Pop. Taking on one heck of a starting lineup by Florida State. Issa Torres, the table setter for the Noles, wastes no time dropping this ball in right field. Extra bases all the way for Issa with a leadoff double. And in case you're just starting to watch Diamond here this spring, that has been the story for Issa Torres largely all season long. All she does is lead the ACC in hits, and that is double number 7 on the season for Torres.
Absolutely, 55th hit already this season, and she jumps all over the first pitch offering from Kennedy Temples.
And that'll bring up Jason Beecham, one super sophomore to another. Beecham, the reigning National Freshman of the Year.
And I love the approaches from both leadoff hitters. The Stetson leadoff hitter, Addison Foster, working the count, seeing pitches, waiting, trying to get her pitch. And then on the flip side, you got Issa Torres, the hottest hitting hitter in the ACC, jumps all over the first pitch.
Batting average a touch below 400 for Beecham. So I guess that's the big drop-off from a year ago where she was over 400. Call it a sophomore slump, if you will. Just ultra impressive, this young lady, with 10 home runs now on the year. And it was one of those things, Brandon, I've been keeping an eye on Florida State softball all season. I'll be doing a number of their games here from now throughout the remainder of the year. And out of nowhere, it felt like she had 2 home runs and a bunch of doubles, and then the home runs started to climb and climb and climb and climb and climb. She's got 9 in the last 19 or so games.
Right, and she hits this ball very, very well, and probably just gets robbed of a single. The Hatters pitcher, Kennedy Temple's able to kind of get a glove on that, deflect it over to the second baseman.
Nice play up the middle by Santana, the freshman at second, joined by the sophomore Foster up the middle. On the corners, English and Ben. Out in the outfield, McLaren, Epley, and Napoli. Temple's joined by Anthony in the backstop. Dylan Anthony, one of a few different players who is caught for the Hatters, provides good veteran presence there in the backstop, number 24 in black. So here's Kennedy Harp, who came on strong late last season for Florida State and has only continued that momentum and built upon it here in year 2 as a Seminole. And whereas Issa Torres leads the ACC in hits, she's only second on her team in batting average, and that's because Harp, the sophomore out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, is batting about 12 points higher than Torres to this point at .458. 7 home runs, 41 runs driven in for Kennedy Harp, who is just having an unbelievably impressive year.
Well, she's got electric bat speed. You see on that foul ball right there, that barrel just whips through the zone. And that's where she's really showing this year, is that power. 7 home runs, and we'll touch on this, I'm sure, later, but 6 doubles and 9 triples, where she leads the country.
Won't be long before she does have 8 doubles in your defense, Brandon.
Right.
That has hit a ton. A mile high in the air, and Harp leaves the ballpark. The left fielder, McLaren, thought she might just have a play at the track, but there was just enough carry on that softball, and Florida State takes the lead 2-1.
Harp absolutely explodes on this ball, and that's why she's been so special. She's been able to stay on top of those high pitches and drive them, and this ball is no exception. She hits this ball as high as the light fixtures, and the ball just keeps on carrying over the fence. Huge home run for Kennedy Harp.
So Florida State wastes no time, bouncing right back from falling 1-0 behind in the top of the first. And all 3 of the first Seminole batters to come to the plate hit a ball hard. Torres dropping a double into right. Beecham a rocket shot back up the middle, caught a piece of Kennedy Temple's glove and was able to be retired by Emily Santana at first, and then a home run to left for Kennedy Harp. Off speed into Michaela Edenfield.
Yeah, and if you're Kennedy Temples, you've got to try to mix it up and not leave so many balls down the middle of the plate. You got to work the sides here and try to get these Seminole hitters to, get it off the inside part of the bat or off the end. Try to get themselves out. Tell you what, this Seminole offense is just ridiculous, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. 8 home runs for Kennedy Harp, and one of a number of Noles who has put a ball well outside the premises this season.
Yeah, top to bottom, the Noles are just power on top of power. This has got to be tough on a freshman, Kennedy Temples, to to come into this stadium in this environment and be able to pitch to a lineup that just doesn't quit.
3-1 to Michaela Edenfield, pulled foul.
That's a good pitch right there by Temples to kind of slow it down and keep it off the plate, because Michaela Edenfield was looking for that 3-1 rise ball in the zone, and she takes a huge hack but just misses.
There's one out on the board for Stetson. And the changeup comes in above the zone, so Edenfield works another walk, and that has been something that Michaela Edenfield has done a lot. That is walk number 24, which extends her lead in the ACC.
Number 77, Katie.
Yeah, I always said it, man. I feel like catchers, if you're a catcher, you got the best perception of the strike zone. You know what you're getting to watch it on defense, so you know what that umpire's going to call, so you can lay off those really close pitches, and she does it again. Great at bat by Michaela Edenfield.
And she passes the bat to Katie Dack. Dack, who herself can catch, but has also played out in the outfield, has also seen a number of reps as Florida State's DP, will bat fifth. She has been on a tear this season, has already exceeded her hit count from a season ago, has delivered more of that power that we saw a couple of years ago, and even going back to her freshman year at Texas A&M, showed plenty of pop there in College Station. So a return to the norm for Katie Dack, who is back in a big way, batting .338, 9 home runs, 30 runs driven in. And I say this figuratively and quite literally, there is no place to hide if you are in the circle squaring off against this lineup.
It just doesn't quit. I'll tell you what, that's a tough one right there for Dack, but a great play and a pitcher's best friend, the double play.
Temple.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody in this kind of game is a little bit superstitious, right? And I believe you right there, but you know, taking a look at coaching there, I mean, one of the best to do it, one of the best in the business, and a highly respected coach by the opposition as well.
Yeah. Every coach you talk to that we get the privilege to talk to that comes in to pay Florida State a visit has nothing but glowing things to say about Lonnie Alameda. And if you spend any kind of time around here and get to know her at all, the genuine love and passion she has for this sport and for this program and for the continued growth of both is just remarkable to be around. It's infectious, it's contagious, and you can see why so many highly talented young ladies come to play for her here. And a lot of that talent has been on full display already in this game, with Florida State leading it 2-1. McKenna Reed back to the circle, Annabella McLaren in the batter's box for Stetson, called strike. It goes 3-1 to the left fielder. McLaren, the junior out of Jacksonville, Florida, a .224 batting average. 7 driven in. She bats 6th for Stetson, so the Hatters will start things off 6, 7, and 8 here in the second.
McLaren off to a little bit of a slow start to begin this season. And you're looking for her to really pick things up as the Stetson Hatters kind of enter that tough conference schedule they have.
Popped up. Angeli Bueno ranges over, trips on the bag at first for a second, maintains her footing, and secures out number 1.
That's tough right there. You saw Bueno looking up and almost directly into the sun, a 3 p.m. game here, and there is nothing in the sky to block that sun. So struggled a little bit, almost trips on the bag, but the athleticism kicks in and she makes the play.
Shout out to the Seminoles fans here. 3 p.m. on a Wednesday isn't exactly prime time to come to the ballpark, but there is a good number of them here in the stands this afternoon, and that's one of the many things that makes this place so special. As Dylan Anthony steps in, 1-0 to the catcher.
I'll tell you what, when you're on a 9-game winning streak and you just came off a sweep in the Duke Blue Devils on the road, the fans here got to be excited to come watch this Seminole team. They've been top to bottom. They've just kept getting better. So you're always going to see these seats filled at this stadium with this team.
100%. Florida State working on a 9-game hitting streak that dates back to the Oregon Ducks tournament up in Eugene. 1-2 the count. And down goes Anthony, another strikeout for McKenna Reed.
After going down 3-0 to Annabelle McLaren in the first at bat, she works all the way back. Reed does a great job of jumping ahead of Dylan Anthony and just keeping her off balance. And Dylan Anthony just cannot catch up with the high rise ball right there. Great pitch by McKenna Reed.
That'll bring up Riley Venn. First pitch swinging by Venn, the first baseman.
Ben hadn't had a whole lot of playing time, only 30 at bats so far this season.
Rotated in and out of first base duties this season has the sophomore.
It's always tough when you play that midweek game. You get the start, and you hadn't really had things going your way yet, and then you got to face a Seminole team and a pitcher like McKenna Reed. It's tough to get the batting average popping against a team like this and a pitcher like this.
But Brandon, if you can, my goodness, what confidence you can carry out of this.
Absolutely, and that's exactly, I'm sure, what the coaches at Stetson are trying to do, is trying to develop a little confidence as they kind of move into this conference schedule they have.
Reed's got her 1-2. Fouled away to the backstop. Edenfield will not throw down to first. And based on that, I thought maybe she fouled it away. Might not have. Might have just whiffed and the pitch got away.
Right, I think this ball was a rise ball just moving away. I do not think she made contact right there, but Michaela Edenfield unable to handle the high riser right there. And we'll call that a K and a drop third strike for Riley Venn, who gets first base with 2 outs here.
2-out base runner nonetheless for the Hatters as they turn to Gia Napoli. One of 4 upperclassmen in the batting order who bats 9th for the Hatters. Napoli, who as recently as a season ago was an infielder and has made the move to the outfield this season. Her head coach Shelly Cousins says she's made some great plays defensively for the Hatters this season, showcased a cannon of an arm.
Well, if you're athletic enough to play out.
2-1. Sean Davison, Brandon Reichert, our entire crew here with you in Tallahassee this afternoon as Janai Kerr steps into the batter's box, and like Stetson, Florida State will get things going here in the second with their 6, 7, and 8. And Janai Kerr, who's on a heater of late, like Issa Torres in the first, is thinking extra bases all the way. Kerr slides into third and is safe.
And again, the Seminole leadoff hitter jumping all over the first pitch, getting out in front of this, driving it down the line into that right field corner, and showcasing the speed. You see the ball actually beats her to third base. You see this right here. Look at this. Jumping all over that first pitch and the hustling out of the box all the way, and Kerr hustling. It looks like the umpire thinks that she, number 12 there, lost control of the ball.
Yeah, I had to hesitate on the call because as we were talking about Napoli making the move to the outfield, that was a heck of a throw from right field to perhaps gun down Kerr at third. I thought, like you, with the ball clearly beating her there, that she was going to be called out. And now we're at the monitor once again to determine whether or not the ball stayed in the glove and a tag was effectively applied.
It seems like from that angle, it looks like the ball maybe stayed in the glove. However, did she have the control of the ball? If the ball moves around in the glove while she's, making that tag, I don't know what the umpires will call here. Obviously, he saw something to call Kerr safe, but I thought with the ball beating her, you see the third baseman just turning her glove around. You see it right here. The ball kind of is open. And maybe that's what he saw as she lost control. That's all I can see right there. Ball absolutely beats her, applies the tag. But right there, you see the ball a little loose in her glove.
And I have to say too, Brandon, that is a heck of a slide by Janai Kerr. That was a heck of a lot closer than I thought it was going to be when that throw came in. And that is a tip of the cap to Janai.
Absolutely. She absolutely, like we said, hustled out of the box, never slowed down for 1 second. You said it, right? Great slide to the outside part of the bag to try to avoid the tag. But I gotta say, my favorite part so far of this game is the leadoff hitter's approach at the plate. I gotta say, with her right leg kicking up, she almost kicks it over the tag. Did she get the foot down first? I don't know. That's
a legitimate question.
I'll tell you what, very tough. You gotta have irrefutable evidence.
And the call is upheld. She's safe at third.
And that's a tough one for the Hatters, who make a phenomenal play on defense right there. An obvious double, and Kerr tries to turn it into a triple. And the Hatters defense doing a textbook relay throw to third. Ball beats the runner. Just an unfortunate situation where she loses control of the ball.
So Janai Kerr is in with a leadoff triple. Tip the cap all the way around. Great slide by Kerr to make that as close as it was. Wonderful throw by Napoli from the outfield. And Ashton Danley ropes that ball to right. Florida State leads by 2. Ball is kicked out in right field, and now Danley will be at third.
And right fielder Napoli right there just comes up a little too fast and thinks to throw it in. I think that Danley was just going to stop at second and sees that the ball gets booted out there in right field and takes third base on the error. But let's talk about this swing by Danley. Again, jumps on a good pitch by Temples. Gets the barrel to it, hits a line drive out in the right, and that's the second ball to hit the fence in right field this inning, and only 2 batters.
Can confirm a double and an error by Napoli out in right. And just like that, Florida State has started off the home half of the second by placing back-to-back batters on the bag at third. Here's Angeli Bueno.
Bueno only making her 6th start so far this year, but has been super effective in her time in that batter's box.
Elevated out to center field and dropped. Bueno slides into second, and Florida State tacks on another.
And this is just a tough play in the sun for center fielder Cammie Epley. Bueno doing everything she can to drive in that run from third, doing a great job of driving that ball to the outfield to try to get the sac fly. And Epley, I just can only assume she lost it in the sun. Not a cloud in the sky here in Tallahassee today, and the sun is bright for this 3 p.m. start. Noles catch a break on that one.
It'll be scored as an RBI double for Angeli Bueno. Just like that, Florida State in 3 batters has pushed 2 runs across. And we head to the bottom of the order. Annie Potter set to step in for Florida State.
Right, so far I gotta tell you, for Kennedy Temples, who's doing a good job, just tough breaks. That gives up 2 really good hit balls, but should have had 2 outs so far here this inning in 3 batters, and just tough luck scenario for the Stetson Hatters and Kennedy Temples.
Still no outs on the board. Potter pushes this bunt in between Temples and the bag at first. It's effective enough to move her teammate Bueno to third. And that represents the first out on the board for Florida State here in the second. It's a sack bunt for Potter.
Yeah, this is a great job. You're great job by the Seminole offense. That you start the inning off with a triple, a double, and then you use a sack bunt to get that runner to third base. That's just a selfless at bat by Annie Potter, and a great bunt to get the runner to third.
And a red-hot Isa Torres set to step back into the batter's box. Double and a run scored for Torres in the first. Came in off the 2-run home run by her fellow sophomore Kennedy Harp. And those numbers just remarkable. Almost astonishing that she was not somehow on the preseason All-ACC team after a tremendous freshman year. Well, I don't think she's going to have to worry about being on any number of whatever teams, All-America teams, All-ACC teams, if she keeps this up.
It's always interesting to see what they're going to do preseason, but really what matters is what they can contribute during the season to get on that postseason honor system, man. And she has just been lights out so far.
Here's Shelly Cousins, the head coach of the Stetson Hatters. Hometown product in DeLand, Florida. Came back home after a tremendous career as a player at USC Upstate. Coached for a couple of years up in the Carolinas. Came back down to Central Florida to serve as an assistant coach under Frank Griffin, their longtime head coach there in DeLand. Now has, for a number of years, taken over as the head coach herself. She said, really, it's just been an absolute dream, a dream come true in a number of ways to be able to come back home and man the ship at a D1 program.
Absolutely, and you said it before, man. What a playing career Shelly Cousins had, an All-American, 2-time ASUN Player of the Year, and absolutely loves that she gets to continue to teach young softball players in her hometown at the D1 level. What an honor for her, and she said she's excited to be doing it in her hometown.
All those folks in the visiting dugout feel like they're starting to build some momentum of their own. A quality series win over Florida Gulf Coast this past weekend. Struggled a bit the weekend before against North Florida, but feel like they're getting things back on the right track and they're putting some things together. She comes out to have a word with Donald Maddox, our home plate umpire. Danny Slaughter at first. Jeremiah Tomasetti is stationed at third. And there's Coach Alameda chatting with Danny Slaughter at first.
Right. Yeah, Coach Cousins really high, said this team's had some ups and downs, but hopefully able to turn some things around with their big series win over the weekend.
Clearly, Stetson's made some changes. We'll be briefed on exactly what those are here, I'm sure, momentarily. In case you're just joining us, Stetson struck first here in this ball game, recording an unearned run in the top of the first. And then Florida State responded with a 2-run home run in the bottom. And here in the second inning, it's been all Florida State. Triple by Kerr, double and an E9 for Danley, an RBI double for Angeli Bueno, a sack bunt for Potter. And Isa Torres is waiting in the wings, ready to step into the batter's box for her second plate appearance in as many innings after jumping on the first pitch she saw in the bottom half of the first and lining a double into right.
And you gotta get excited to see Isa Torres hit again right here. I wonder, with this big break, you gotta wonder what her approach is at the plate. She jumped all over the first pitch of the game to hit a double. And now, I mean, this is just me. If I have this kind of a break, I'm looking to jump all over the first pitch just right out of the break again.
Conversations continuing here at the Plex. Brandon, if you are on the field, and I know it wasn't that long ago that you were, These delays do happen from time to time. What do you do to keep your mind engaged and keep yourself locked in so that you're still sharp? Whether you're in the field, maybe you're coming up into the batter's box like Issa Torres. What's going on?
Well, I'll tell you what, if I'm in the dugout or on the field, or if I'm in the dugout or I'm hitting, I'm going to try to have conversations with some people who've seen some pitches more recently. I want to talk to my, my 9-hole batter, my 8-hole batter. I want to see what they saw, what pitches they were seeing, and try to have an approach, build my approach going into bat. Now, if I'm in the field, I got to say I'm doing exactly what the Hatters are doing right now. I'm gonna try to gather the troops and around midfield and try to have some conversations and see what we can do to get out of this scenario. Right now, they have no outs. They've already given up a triple, 2 doubles. I'm sorry, they do have 1 out. They have a sac bunt, but they have the leadoff hitter coming up. And I'll tell you what, the first 4 hitters for the Florida State Seminoles really, really hammered the ball in the first inning.
Sure did. A double for Torres. Beecham was retired via ground out up the middle, but she hit that ball hard and caught a piece of the starting pitcher Kennedy Temple's glove, which scrubbed just enough off that Santana was able to range over and make the play.
So Beecham's up now.
Interesting.
I'm not really sure. So now Torres is, they put a second out up on the scoreboard. So I'm assuming Torres is not going to hit. It has been deemed out for some reason.
Yeah, that information has not been relayed over here. We'll work to figure out exactly what took place there and let you all know at home. But Torres was getting set to step into the batter's box. And it was the proper spot in the order for her to do so. Beecham, meanwhile, airs this out to right field. Napoleon
get away with not having to see probably the best hitter in the ACC.
Called strike on the corner to Addison Foster.
Foster 0 for 0 with a walk in the first and scored the lone Hatters run. Had a phenomenal at bat her first time up.
Foul out to Michaela Edenfield.
Just out in front of this changeup right here off the end of the bat. Cannot get the barrel to it. Hits it off the end of the bat. Pops it up, and Michaela Edenfield, like a cat, jumping out of position to make that play. Love to see the athleticism from the senior catcher.
That'll bring up Cammie Epley, and this is where Stetson was able to scratch off an unearned run in the first. It was Foster who battled back after trailing early in the count to work the leadoff walk. Epley reached on an error. And then off of a fly out to right by Chumley, Foster was able to tag and advance to third. And then should come in to score a little later. Epley ropes this ball into right field, and that is a 1-out base knock for Cammie.
You see how perfectly placed this swing is. She just sees the ball deep, puts the barrel on the ball, does not try to do too much, and hits an absolute frozen rope out to right field. And she just continues to drive softballs for the Stetson Hatters team.
That'll bring up Amber Chumley. First pitch swinging by Chumley.
Chumley takes a great hack at that rise ball.
Flied out in the first. Move Foster over into third. Went 4 for 10 last weekend against Florida Gulf Coast, did Chumley. Popped up. Edenfield has enough room and makes a second play in foul territory, securing the pop-up.
Love to see that. Edenfield popping straight up, finding the fence, setting herself up for success, and then coming around, knowing the situation, coming straight out of that catch to throw the runner out at second if she was to dare to take a shot at second. Great play by the senior catcher again.
Ball 1 to Nadia English. Struck out in the first. But English has 27 hits already this season, which has already surpassed her total from a season ago. Nice play to first by Annie Potter. That's a 1-2-3 inning. Back here in Tallahassee, where McKenna Reed is 3 innings into her 6th start of the season. And we've seen this across all of college softball, the shift to a staff, and like many others, Florida State has been pitching by committee. They were one of the first teams to adopt this mindset a few years ago, and while the personnel has changed, the story has stayed the same, and they've done it awfully well. Ashton Danley with the lowest ERA on the staff. McKenna Reed hasn't had the same volume of work as everybody else. I documented the injury issues she's coming off of from a season ago, but a quality outing here could certainly thrust her even further into the picture moving forward as she gets set here in the top of the 4th.
And I'll tell you what, Sean, she is pitching really, really well. Mixing up speeds, mixing up locations, able to control her ball on the outside part of the plate, the inside part of the plate. She has been impressive.
And induces the pop-up here. Issa Torres makes that play easily. So Santana, the leadoff batter, is retired. 3 1/3 in the books for McKenna Reed, an unearned run recorded by Stetson in the first. So 49 pitches, just the 1 walk who did come in to score. That was the leadoff walk to Foster to get us started. And then 3 strikeouts by comparison for McKenna.
And what's been super impressive with Reed is not just the fact that she's only got the 1 walk, and she has been really working hard to get ahead of batters, and she's really kept her pitch count low, other than a couple good bats by the Stetson Hatters, and she's doing a great job of getting them to pop up.
She has had pretty darn good command of just about all of her pitches, and she has thrown them in there in such a way that nobody's been able to really get comfortable for Stetson.
Yeah, her rise ball is really working today. She's got that upper 60s velocity, and she's just getting it above the hitter's bats. And then she's able to come with that changeup that she has located so well today to keep these hitters off balance.
Once again, Reed works ahead in the count, 1-2. She has been at her best. This has been the story. Reed ahead early, and then she puts them away, no problem. K-time chance. That stays away, 2-2.
That's a good chase pitch right there. You're 1-2, you're ahead in the count. You're trying to get the batter to chase, and the batter might be looking changeup down and away right there, but she comes with the hard ball just a little off the plate.
Stays off the plate, the count runs full.
You see it right there, that's the changeup. So that last pitch before that one was a great setup pitch to try to get the hitter to jump at that changeup.
McLaren popped up to the first baseman, Bueno, a couple of innings ago. Rockets that ball back to Reed, who recovers and retires her at first. Nice play by Reed getting out of the circle.
It's all smiles right there by Reed. That ball was hit very, very well by McLaren. You see this hard line drive, 3-2, right off the belt buckle, looks like. But a great job by McKenna Reed to stick with that, stay in the play, and get the out at first.
2 up, 2 down. And here's McKenna Reed, perhaps in line for her first 1-2-3 effort so far in this game. Stetson sent 5 to the plate in the first, 4 in each the second and the third. As we take a look at the out distribution for Reed, 7 in the air, 2 on the ground, 3 on strikes.
That tells you right there, those numbers tell you that rise ball is working today.
And there it was.
Another great pitch up in the zone. I'll tell you what, with that velocity and that deception on her changeup, that's a tough pitch to hit today.
0-2 to Dylan Anthony. Anthony struck out a couple of innings ago. The strikeout would be the 4th for McKenna Reed.
Another great pitch right there by McKenna Reed. Up in the zone again, mid-60s, out of the zone, trying to get the hitter to chase. I would be crazy not to think that changeup away off the plate's coming right here.
Anthony, meanwhile, one of 5 Hatters in the batting order, batting at or above 300. So this is the Stetson lineup that, you mentioned it, Brandon, they don't necessarily have the pop, but they do hit for average pretty well. In fact, as a team, they're hitting .288, which is 4th best in the A-Sun so far this season.
It does not stop. That's her 2nd laser of the day. First at bat, she hit a double. That ball right there absolutely rocketed to the pitcher, who can do everything she had to do just to get a glove on it. But Danley hustling down the line and safe at first for an infield single. Tell you what, one of the harder infield singles you'll ever see.
100%. Addie DeLong will come in to pinch run at first for Ashton.
Now batting number 22, Annie Potter.
And so here's Annie Potter. A couple of innings ago, Florida State had a situation where both Angeli Bueno and Potter came up to hit, and they were productive.
Right.
But then there was an issue with the lineup, and an automatic out was recorded in place of Isa Torres. So no Bueno, no pun intended. Potter is retired at first there. That's a strong play by the Hatters defense. And instead of Bueno, I'm not sure where we're going here with this lineup. Here comes Coach Alameda coming back out. But this is the shuffling that is now kind of taking place, a domino effect, if you will.
Right. Yeah, what you said, no Bueno, and then Annie Potter again with another bunt right there, or a bunt attempt, and the catcher making a phenomenal play to just barely get her at first base. But that'll bring up Shelby McKenzie.
So it'll be Shelby McKenzie who comes in place of essentially Angeli Bueno, even though Bueno was slotted above Potter in the order. So they kept Potter in the lineup, took Bueno out of it, put McKenzie in below Potter. And so now she will represent the 9th batter in the order for Florida State, with Isa Torres waiting in the on-deck circle. Just a typical Wednesday afternoon.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this is it's tough for us to follow up here. I can only imagine the umpires down there. They're trying to figure it out too.
Two and one the count. Called strike.
Really good pitch right there by Haley Arnold on the outside part of the plate to McKenzie.
Nothing to swing at there for Shelby. Count goes full.
This is a scenario where if you're Haley Arnold, you do not want to walk the bottom of the lineup to get to the top of this Seminole lineup. So you got to stay inside and around the zone. She does a great job right there of not coming too far into the zone and hitting that outside corner. McKenzie doing everything she can do to foul that ball off and stay in the at-bat.
Mackenzie herself, one of a number of freshmen, a lot of youngsters here for Florida State that they are very high on in terms of where her ceiling can be, what she projects to be for this program moving forward. But while you've got so many of these veteran stalwarts all over the place, hard to find a place to play. They have plugged her in here and there. She's made some starts. She's done some good things for Florida State, gained some quality experience, and now has another opportunity here this afternoon.
Well, you see her, she's fighting through this at bat, having a really, really good at bat so far here against Haley Arnold.
Yeah, batting .355 so far this season.
That's her third foul ball in a row. Hard ball outside, just misses it, fouls it off. Stays back on the changeup, fouls it off. Another hard ball outside. This time she's getting her timing a little better each time. It's been impressive at bat so far for Mackenzie.
11 hits so far in her freshman season. Caught a piece of that one, another one fouled away.
Another foul ball right there. She is. And what it does for a hitter, so the longer you can stay in this at bat, the more you can foul off, the more opportunities you have for the pitcher to make a mistake and you to finally get that barrel on the ball. So just very, very cool to watch a freshman with such a mature at bat right here.
That's a fifth one fouled away. And Brandon, as a hitter, just to sort of follow that up, when you're catching a piece of balls, yes, you're fouling them away, but you're in the count, you're on top of them. Essentially, what does it tell you as you prepare to see another offering?
Well, like you're trying to get your timing right. And if I'm Mackenzie, I'm like, I'm good on my timing. I just got to get the barrel above the ball.
That's a big strikeout. Arnold was able to retire the freshman and send her back to the dugout. An animated reaction. And we'll take a look at it.
I'll tell you what an at-bat. And she throws an absolute Bugs Bunny changeup right here, gets Mackenzie out in front. It's just an outstanding pitch, 3-2. You don't see that all the time, that late count. After 3 or 4 hard balls in a row, rise balls in a row for Mackenzie, Mackenzie just can't lay off that changeup.
So the order turns over now to Isa Torres, who pulls this ball down the line. And because it got sent away by the first baseman, that'll drive in a run. Torres is stationed at second. And Riley Venn's carom off toward Florida State's dugout costs the Hatters another run.
Yeah, anytime you have the hot-hitting Torres up, you got to be on your toes. And the first baseman right here just kind of misses the play. I think she kind of jumped out of her shoes when Torres took that big swing, and that one ended up being a little bit of a chopper and a tough play for the first baseman. But Torres busting it out of the box and getting a second on the air is pretty impressive.
It goes down as an E3 on Venn. Couple of errors for the Hatters now as Jason Beecham steps in. 2 balls, no strikes to the sophomore.
Beecham comes into the day, like her into this at bat after hitting 2 balls very, very hard in her first 2 at bats with nothing to show for it. Haley Arnold knows who she's got up there. Beecham's first at bat hits a laser to the pitcher, just ricochets off her glove for a ground out to the second baseman. And the last at bat shoots one into the gap that was just tracked down by Napoleon.
Beecham makes her way aboard for the first time. Didn't see anything to swing at there. Walks on 4 pitches, and that'll bring up Kennedy Harp, who has already homered once today to get Florida State scoring started. She'll have a chance to do even more damage here with her teammates Torres and Beecham on ahead of her via an error and a walk.
All right, and I'll tell you what, Harp hit the home run in the first inning, and it was a towering shot, but her second at bat may have been hit harder, just right, a line drive right at the left fielder. So she's seeing the ball well today too.
She has seen the ball well all season, has Kennedy Harp. Called strike for strike 1 out of the gates to Harp. And as I mentioned, what she's done all season, Yeah, awfully impressive. These are her ACC ranks. First in runs and triples, second in hits and OPS, that's on base plus slugging. Ranks top 5 in a couple of other categories as well, does Kennedy.
Who's she second in hits to?
Well, that would have to be her teammate.
Right. I'll tell you what, man. This Seminoles lineup is just impressive. Look at those numbers. Outstanding. If you had those numbers at the end of a season, you'd have a great season.
Hit that one well, out to center field. Not quite well enough, though. It's playable out there for Epley, who secures out number 3 here in the 4th, with the Noles leading 5-4 in Tallahassee.
And Apsell has been impressive all season long. Really has found her stride. I don't want to say that she struggled early in the season, because it's hard to say she struggled, but she has really continued to get better each and every appearance she's made.
Up and into Riley Venn. Stetson will go 8-9-1 here in the 5th.
And Venn, who's again trying to really find her stride this season, get that bat really, really going. He's got to face another tough left-handed pitcher for the Noles.
Check swing, dribbler out in front. Apsell retires Venn at first.
Smooth little backhand by Apsell.
Good start to her relief outing here in the 5th. There's a Maya Ross checking in at first base now for Florida State. Rise ball called ball 1 to Napoli. Napoli popped up to the third baseman, Jason Beecham, back in the 2nd. That's what put an end to Stetson's offensive efforts in the 2nd frame. Fouls that one away.
Tell you what, Apsell's got to be intimidating in that circle. She's 5'8", throwing absolute gas to these Stetson hitters. 67, 68, up to 69 so far this inning.
Napoli at the bottom of the order. Boy, I thought this was really cool, just going through her numbers year in, year out, Brandon. Her batting average to start the day, .364, one of the best batters in the lineup. Second leadoff, if you will, at the bottom of the order, batting .364. That's up over 150 points from last year.
Right, and that just shows the maturity, man, and how hard Napoli has worked, and like we said earlier, she's changed positions, so that could have a good amount of stuff. You know, that could give you a little bit of confidence. I'm not saying outfield's easy by any means. It's certainly not. She's running around out there like a crazy person, very athletic. But you know, the intensity of playing the infield maybe has given her an opportunity to get more at bats during practice since her move to the outfield.
Called strike 3 for Apsell. That'll send Napoli back to the dugout, but to your point, head coach Shelly Cousins told us as much. She said that defense has kind of fueled her at the plate. She goes down on strikes this time, though. That will turn the order over to Foster. And Addison, who's one of the bigger boppers in the lineup for the Hatters.
Yeah, it's hard, you know, usually you would consider the meat or the heart of the lineup, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for this Hatters offense, it's 9, 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
That's really the toughest string of hitters in this Hatters lineup.
How good has Julia Apsell been coming in here in this 5th inning? A ground out, a strikeout, and quickly 0-2.
Yeah, making quick work of the hitters. And that Stetson lineup, she has come in, she's throwing strikes, she's really coming in with hard velocity on the rise ball, and she's mixed in a heck of a changeup. And able to locate it down in the zone. She's been impressive.
Stays away there. Foster doesn't chase off the plate. Looking for strikeout number 2 in her first inning of relief. Popped up and out of play.
Addison Foster doing a good job to spoil a great pitch by Afsell.
That Foster's one of the bigger boppers in the lineup. 8 extra base hits on the season. That leads Stetson so far this season.
Knowing what they're capable of top to bottom.
Michaela Edenfield will lead things off for Florida State here. They'll go 4, 5, 6. Edenfield, Dak, and then Janai Kerr. Edenfield walked on a full count in the first, flied out to right in the third.
Ball just low out of the zone to Edenfield, who probably has one of the better eyes in the country.
Yeah, she certainly does. Certainly in the ACC, where she leads the conference in walks. Hasn't had quite the same output of home runs, but to a certain degree, Brandon, you also have to have something to swing at to produce those home runs. And when you're walking a bunch and passing the bat along, you're being awfully effective. And she's had a lot of doubles power, too, finding the gaps this year. As Edenfield, who's been batting nearly 400 so far.
And it's early. I'll tell you what, it's early. Last at bat, gets a 3-0 count, jumps on the, gets the green light, jumps at the 3-0, and just misses, pops the ball up to center field. That one right there takes the 3-1, or takes the 3-0 pitch, and now it's 3-1. But like you said, maybe not as many homers, but certainly not lacking in the power department with a 741 slugging percentage coming into today.
Well, speaking of the homers, she did record career home run number 50 in Durham. Got tied up there and fouls it away. Changeup got her at 48. She'll stay alive because she caught a piece. With a chuckle, she'll step back in the batter's box.
Yeah, doing a good job right there. She was just, that was an excuse me, try to foul it off and stay in the at-bat type of swing for sure.
Down she goes. Arnold got her down in the zone.
I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying watching Haley Arnold's energy. She gets Michaela Edenfield right there, and she is just ecstatic for that out right there. She knows what kind of hitter Edenfield is, and she knows how big that out is with a leadoff batter.
That is just the 13th strikeout this season for Edenfield compared to 24 walks. Katie Dak muscles that ball into the corner. Great play out there in left field by McLaren, staying in front of it. Got it back to the infield in a hurry. So that is a hard hit single for Dak.
That's one of those balls that is just smoked right off that first pitch, barrels it up, shoots it down the line. It's almost hit too hard. Tip of the cap to the left fielder to cut that ball off and get it in and hold Dak to a single.
You've seen some quality plays by the Hatters. There have been some issues and miscues. Both teams, in fact, have committed a couple of errors, but we've also seen some really strong glove work just the same. That was a high IQ play there by McLaren. Called strike to Janai Kerr. 1 ball, 1 strike to Florida State's left fielder.
And Kerr's had 2 really good at-bats today, too. Kerr with a triple in her first at-bat and hits an absolute rocket down the first base line that was stopped and caught by Riley Vinn of the Hatters on a diving play to end the second inning.
With the triple earlier in this game, Janai Kerr has extended her hit streak to 9 games. That's tops in the Florida State club. Got a hold of that one, but pulled it foul.
That ball was going to be a souvenir. Regardless, that ball was crushed down the line. No wind right now, but the wind was blowing out that way earlier. But this ball Kerr just around this ball and pulls it foul.
Kerr last week combined 6 for 13 at the plate with 6 driven in on the road against Alabama and against Duke. Stays off that pitch away, and Dak sliding in. What a throwdown by the catcher, Anthony. They got the tag down in time, and that is out number 2.
The stuff that these two are doing on the field has just been insane. And like clockwork, You called it, Sean. Line drive right to the lady of the hour.
It's almost like she heard us talking about it. She's like, all right, I got to show out right here, right now.
Right. Did she just smile and point at us?
Maybe.
I don't know. I think she heard us. I think she heard us. Now, that was an outstanding play. A very, very good hit by Cammie Epley, but right at Isa Torres, who can do no wrong at this point in our, as the Seminoles are about halfway through their season.
2-3-4 here for Stetson. Epley, Chumley, and English. Epley just lined out to Isa Torres at short. But yeah, just to circle back to that point there, Brandon. If you're a Florida State fan here taking in the Diamond Sports, a lot of reasons to smile. Both of them firmly in the top 10. Florida State baseball in the top 5. Florida State softball, the only undefeated team in ACC play. Preseason number 2 in the ACC, and they got a midweek tilt here against Stetson.
I'll tell you what, the ACC and softball, you see some of those numbers and those records, and you see 4-3 and 3-4, and that just goes to show you how tough each team is to play. And there's you can't walk into any series and expect to go sweep anybody or even win 2 of 3. You just got to go battle for 3 games in every single one of those series.
On the ground to second, and that's a nice play by Potter.
Yeah, really good job by Potter to stay down on that ball. And again, Chumley hits the ball hard, just right at second base, and Potter doing a great job staying down, realizing she has a little bit of time and making that play look easy.
Nadia English. Found that one back.
I'll tell you, the lineup here for the Hatters has found some barrels against Absol, but just not able to get anything to get through the holes. That swing right there by English was right on time. Very, very good swing.
4 for 8. Against FGCU, but quickly 0-2 behind Apsell. And Julia is looking for her second straight 1-2-3 inning. She's been awfully efficient so far, just 21 pitches through 5 batters and now some change.
Right. I'll tell you what, her ability to work ahead of batters and get them off balance early, it's so hard to hit when you're behind in the count. It just is, and especially when you have a devastating changeup like Julia Apsell.
Apsell, who ranks top 10 all-time at Hofstra in career strikeouts, was looking for another one there, but she will certainly settle for Amaya Ross retreating onto the grass to record out number 3. 4-run lead for the Noles to the home half.
And that's how those rankings work, and that's how you get placed in those regionals at the end of the year, and that's what matters. And if the Seminoles can continue on this track, they're looking to host a regional and really have that home field advantage.
Addie DeLong, who replaced Ashton Danley out in right field, will now hit for her here to get things started in the home half of the 6th. So it's DeLong, the freshman, who leads things off. And then likely Annie Potter to follow, and then Shelby McKenzie after Potter.
I'll tell you what, Addie DeLong has some big shoes to fill as Danley smoked 2 balls in her only 2 at-bats today with a double and a single. So
Dribbler out in front, and DeLong is safe. Doesn't have to be hit hard to be effective, and Florida State's got the lead off the board.
That one's tough right there. That ball just walked, just found the hole. You see DeLong almost runs over the ball. I'll tell you what, back when I played, Mike Barber said that ball had eyes.
It sure did.
Found a hole.
Now some more shuffling in the lineup here as we approach the later stages of the game. Hallie Waycaser, who is one of the veterans for this Florida State team, didn't get the call as one of the starters this afternoon, but she will come in to pinch hit. And this is a first pitch pop-up to second.
Yeah, anytime you're coming off the bench, you get a little antsy and a little excited. She jumps on this pitch, a little up in the zone. She just can't keep her barrel on top of it.
And here's Amaya Ross.
And this is, if you're the Hatters, this is a player you do not want on the base paths.
Ross, an all-out speedster who was perfect on the base paths. You said it, if you're Haley Arnold, objective number one is keeping her from them to begin with.
Yeah, 11 for 11 so far this season in stolen bases. You have Addie DeLong at first base, who's no slouch in the speed department as well.
Coming off a breakout season in 2024, hit .322. Did Amaya Ross. She's 73 of 79 on the base paths across her career. Closing in on top 10 all-time at Florida State. She needs to hit 80 to be 10th outright on her own. And that will not find the gap. Great work out in center field by Epley, taking a hit away from Ross.
And this ball is absolutely smoked to the left center field gap. Center fielder Cammie Epley on her horse. Look how solid this ball is hit. Right off the bat, you're thinking double, and Epley gets a great first step to get over there to cut that ball off and make the out.
That'll turn the order over to Isa Torres. First pitch ball to the shortstop. Double and a run scored for Isa. Also reached on an error. Fouls this one away. DeLong will make her way back to first.
Isa Torres coming into today, getting 446. Second in the country in total hits is Isa Torres.
Hit this one pretty well out to center field, but once again, the defender of the moment, Epley, makes a nice play in center field.
The Hatters going to bring up a pinch hitter right here, Madeline Sinoraki.
Sinoraki, who this season has made 19 starts on the year, a combination of reps at second base and 3 starts, in fact, as the DP for the Hatters. So has been in and out of the lineup. Last year was nearly an everyday starter for Stetson, started 50 of 52. Quickly 0-2 to Sinoraki, the sophomore out of Willow Spring, North Carolina.
Jazzy Franson working really, really well to get ahead of Sinoraki.
Got her. Strikeout number 1 for Fransick, 1 away in the 7th.
You see the high riser out of the zone, gets Sinoraki to chase. That's always tough to come in a pinch hit situation. Find yourself really quickly in the hole 0-2. You got to try to protect, and that one just unreachable as Jazzy Franson comes in and works that strikeout, first batter of the game.
Called strike 1 to Annabella McLaren. McLaren popped out and grounded out in the second and in the 4th. Annabella's made some nice plays out in left field. Count goes 1-1 to her.
Hear that Hatters dugout trying to cheer on McLaren, get her going. Trying to induce a rally right here.
I'll say this too, Brandon. 2 outs to work with if you're Stetson. Might not go your way in terms of what the final scoreboard will say, but they have done a good job of hanging in with Florida State. Those put 4 runs up in the first 2 innings. This thing could have gotten out of hand in a hurry. The Hatters have hung in there.
Right, they've done a heck of a job. You got to tip your cap to Haley Arnold, who came in to pitch and really stopped the bleeding. And I'll tell you what, they've done a good job of shutting down the bats with runners in scoring position since the second inning. It's been really, really impressive. So a lot closer here than you might look at the scoreboard and think.
High fly out to center field. Harp charges in from the track, 2 away. Now, just to go to your point about Haley Arnold, 3 innings of relief work, only 3 hits given up, an unearned run, a couple of strikeouts for Arnold. So really, really solid stuff out of the pen that gave Stetson a shouting chance if they could find some magic here late, but that has been hard to come by. Florida State, the pitching from the drop has been really strong. McKenna Reed walked the leadoff batter, Addison Foster, who benefited from an error and a fly ball to come in to score. And outside of that, it has been hard to find the offense if you're Stetson here at the ballpark today.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, it really comes down to walks. You know, the Seminoles have made a couple errors, miscues on defense, but the Seminoles only 1 walk today. And that right there, that'll tell you everything you need to know. That when you don't give base runners an opportunity for free to get on, then they're not going to score very often.
No. That's hit a ton, but peeling foul.
That ball's crushed. So like you said, foul ball, and puts Jazzy Francis back on top in this count with an opportunity to close out this batter and this game.
Just 1 hit for Stetson today. They've also had a player reach via an error, another one via a walk, another one via a drop third strike. That ball stays down and away. It goes 2-2 to Dylan Anthony. Second on the team in on-base percentage coming into the game today, but she will go down swinging, and that will be how this game ends. The 8th-ranked Seminoles of Florida State spotted Stetson an early run, but responded with 5 of their own and have reached win number 30 on the season.
I'll tell you what, the Seminole offense was impressive as usual. A lot of power, 3 doubles, a triple, a home run. But the pitching for the Seminoles today was just outstanding, top to bottom. All 3 pitchers that came in today did an amazing job. And tell you what, Seminoles win.
And Brandon, a chance for Florida State to continue to build momentum. Had a heck of a week last week on the road. This starts an 8-game